Hey everybody, it's Rob here. Welcome to what I believe will be the best 1-60 leveling and also the best and the fastest build to reach Torment 4 difficulty in Season 10 and blast in the endgame of Diablo 4. This is the Evade Spiritborn. It has been a very good build already when Spiritborn launched in Season 6, and now they ultra juiced the Spiritborn. Not only did they buff the key passives, they also buffed every single Paragon node, as well as almost every core skill, which makes the leveling experience just even more smooth here. You can see I already made this leveling tier list, and I think the Evade Spiritborn next to the Sorcerer here is on the very top. However, the Sorcerer will be a bit more gear dependent, while you will be basically able to perma-evade from a very early standpoint out, and there is a couple of things that make this possible. I want to take you through basically the entire journey here of leveling, and this is going to be a very fast-paced playstyle, and the power creep on this is insanely high. I also have a leveling strategy here, but we'll mainly talk about the build and what we were going to do. So there is two different planners that I have here. So I have one leveling planner, and there's one start to endgame planner, starting from 60. I'm going to link both of those below. But we're going to start, guys, and there is many different ways to level the Spiritborn. I'm just going to talk about the one that I think is the best. So we're going to be playing level 1 to 15 with Crushing Hands Spiritborn. The reason at 15 for the respec is that at 15 we unlock our class quest automatically, and this is the Eagle Hall. And the Eagle Hall has been ultra juiced. Now, not only does it cast the feathers when you evade, no, it also casts the feathers when you attack with an Eagle skill. And Thunder Spike happens to be an Eagle skill, while it still resets our evade cooldown. So that's why we rock this. And we will be playing here with Crushing Hands. The reason we play Crushing Hands is because this build is so powerful. We want to play on Penitent difficulty. We're going to start by doing Hell Tides. And Crushing Hands is so good because, first of all, they are juicing the damage. They are doubling the damage. It goes from 50 to 100%. They did this like Jay Wilson style, and then we doubled it. So big multiplier buff here, double damage, baseline on Crushing Hands. And Crushing Hands also gives you a barrier, and it also knocks down the enemies, which is going to help you tremendously in surviving, especially if you are like a newer player. The Hell Tides can be pretty dangerous for you. If you're a newer player, I recommend you start on hard difficulty, but if you know what you're doing, you can start on expert or even on penitent difficulty. And Crushing Hands is going to be a crazy powerhouse here. And we're going to combine this obviously with Thunder Spike to evade, with Vortex, with Soar, and with Toxic Skin from a very early on standpoint. I'll show you quickly here how crazy this can be in leveling. And this has been basically my first test with this that we did. This is on the live game right now. So you just basically grab your pet, you go into the Helltide. You start by assigning the skill points the way I have them in the planner. 1 point in Vortex, 3 points in Thunder Spike, 2 points in Ravager, 3 points in the Toxic Skin, and 3 points in Crushing Hands. And then basically you just press your Toxic Skin first, then you press Ravager, and this basically allows you to do a crazy amount of poison damage that you can then use to absolutely crush your enemies here in Penitent difficulty. And then when you see an elite, you go off your horse, you make a Vortex, you press your Toxic Skin, you press your Ravager, and then you just use 1-2 Crushing Hands, then you use Thunder Spike again. Everything is going to be stunned. You see, I didn't even lose any life. You also get a ton of barrier for this. And then you keep putting points into Soar. This is going to make everything vulnerable in your Soar duration. Keep putting the points. Again, the step-by-step leveling planner here is here, every level, what you put on every step, basically. All the way until you are level 15 in the game and unlock your Eagle Spirit Horse. So you see, you go on your horse, you detect a pack, you press your buffs, and then you're just crushing handed, and you see they barely even attack us. And even if I'm standing here in the big explosions, even on penitent difficulty, without any gear, without anything, I'm completely naked here. We basically just started. And yeah, we're basically just crushing here, and we're cruising through and doing a couple of just a couple of runs here in the different Hell Tides. So make sure you choose the Hell Tide that has the bounties in there. You see all the bounties are in this Hell Tide, so that's going to be tremendously powerful. You see, I just got a weapon, and then you just basically keep going like this. And then once you hit Paragon 15, so you just like follow this planner, once you hit Paragon 15, then I'm respeccing into Evade. So that's going to be like the pure Evade. We still have Crushing Hands because you can still use it to knock down enemies and gain barrier if you need. But we basically like respec out of Soar, we respec out of Vortex, and we basically just go pure Evade. There's also a step-by-step guide here. And this is how it looked on the PTR. So we just hit like 15. I was like 20 here already. And, you're just stacking out. It's very important to not turn in the Cinders early on. You want to keep the Cinders for a bit later because you get a ton more experience from the chests if you turn in the Cinders later. So you want to stack up to like 1,000 Cinders or so and then turn them in. And this is basically how it's going to look. You're going to be using Evade, and then you're going to be using the Thunder Spike. And the Thunder Spike is also going to proc, you see, it's procking the feathers whenever I use Thunder Spike in this footage. A cool thing is you also have the Chaos Rifts here in the Infernal Hordes. On the PTR, they were not really worth it, but you see on the minimap there, that right here we have the this like Chaos Portals that also can drop you the Infernal Horde stuff. And this is just tremendously powerful. And you can do this like right from the start. Like we don't know for sure when we're going to get Alacrity. But even without the Alacrity power, this is super powerful. And the Alacrity is this blue power. So it's a blue power, one of the easiest ones to get. It basically allows you to reset your Evade cooldown on Thunder Spike, which normally triggers every 3 hits. But now it allows it to trigger on every 2 hits and reset your Evade like that. That's going to be insanely smooth and very strong for leveling early on. But like I said, you still have to, you can't spam Evade. You still have to press Evade, then press Thunder Spike, then press Evade, then press Thunder Spike, right? And that's basically your rotation. You keep your other buffs like up all the time when you can, and you just press them basically. And you have a good time. You blast through. You see, you collect all these Cinders here. And you're absolutely crushing the packs. We'll have to see on the PTR, we'll have to see on the live game if it is worth it doing the Chaos Rifts, because on the PTR they had like a lot of life. You see here even the Hellborn on Penitent can be, or this was even lower to hard later on, but even the Hellborn here could be a skip, because you see like this takes a long time killing the Hellborn, but that's pretty normal. And doing like normal elites is extremely fast. You see here these guys, the elites, they instantly die. But there's these dudes here from the Chaos Rift that can be a little bit problematic. But depending on your power level, I think the best in the end is going to be hard at the minimum. And if you have good stuff, if you get kind of lucky or you get some decent gear, or you play in a group, like I was playing solo here in a group, this is going to go even crazier, because in group, the monsters don't scale with the player count. So in Helltide at least. So that's going to be pretty powerful. And you basically like perma-evading like from a very early on without having any cooldown. What's really recommended though, if you find boots that have attacks reduce evade cooldown, that's going to help a lot to make it a lot smoother, right? Because this is not that smooth yet. You can get it a lot smoother if you want to, and you get all this like crazy Cinders that you can then use to level up like crazy here. So I'll quickly show you the rest of the planner. So we'll basically like move down like all the skill tree. So we keep Revenger, we keep Toxic Skin, Armored Hide, and then just like all the multipliers basically. And early on we play Hunter. We only respec to Seeker later on. And then you also have Vital Strikes, which since this footage that I recorded has also been buffed. So on top of Crushing Hands, they also buffed the Vital Strike. If you don't want to do any respec, you can also play Quill Evade right from the start. However, I'm going to be playing most likely Crushing Hands, or I recommend playing Crushing Hands into the Evade. That's going to be really strong. And then once you hit 60, so you're going to do like the Helltide, and you're going to do some strongholds, like the normal strategy. I have a full video on YouTube here on the strategy. And what you're going to be doing then is you're going to be ideally, and I noted this down here in the notes. So this is the leveling basically that we do. And then you're going to transition into the early evade farming guide. It's this one here. It's like Paragon 100, and you're going to get there. So you want to, like, as soon as you hit 60, you want to temper your damage mods. You want to re-roll your gear. You're going to run all the way through Pit 10 to unlock Torment 1. Then you run some Helltides in T1. Then you run the Maiden to get the Blood. And then you do Zir to get the Wushe Neck Par weapon. This is also a Chaos item. But early on, you're not going to have, you know, the Chaos power. So you just want to be looking for Zir here. And this is the loot table. And then this is the weapon here that you want early on. It's basically going to 4x your potency of your primary haul bonus, which basically locks you into playing the Seeker. So then you're going to be switching from Hunter to Seeker to always get the multiplier here from the Wuxie Nakpa. And that's just going to give you a 4x when you kill a couple of Zeers. And by that time, like when you get that weapon, then you can also kill Greg to get loyalties, and then you're going to be basically already pushing more pits into Torment 2, and then you're going from there, masterworking your gear, and going crazy out of control. One thing that's also super important, so during leveling, you basically just equip like any of the legendaries that you find. You don't really have to, pay special attention. Obviously, if you get unyielding hits, that's completely insane. Conceded is also really good. But on the rest of the stuff, like it doesn't really matter too much. You just like pick whatever you're gonna get. And that's basically it. And then when you are like approaching the end game here, then ideally you have the Wushenek Pa, you get the Royalties Mantle, even the Jaken's Shell can drop. You can even drop Temerity or Disobedience, Vehemence. Like there's some good items that you can farm, right? And then in the end game, like you're basically going to be transitioning into having like Chaos Armor. And then at some point you might also get some Uber items. But you don't even need this. And what's really important, guys, early on, that you rush the Paragon. So when you finish leveling, like once you hit 60, you're going to have all your renowned Paragon, and you instantly want to go for the sapping board. So you want to early on ignore the glyphs and just pick up the 1.6 multiplier. So you're getting a 1.6 multiplier from sapping. This has been buffed from 30%. You are picking up a 1.6 multiplier from drive. You are picking up a 1.66 multiplier with barrier from Viscous Shield. And you are picking up a 1.3 multiplier from Revealing. And you basically just rush, and the only really glyph that you care about is the Jagged Plunge, because it gives you Jagged Plum, because it gives you even more feather potency. And that's completely crazy for this build. So this build has been like doubled from what you've seen like in most of the footage here, because like it got the Crushing Hand buff, it got the Key Passive buff, it just got so many buffs, man. It goes completely crazy. And on top of this, you get this Alacrity power. We don't know exactly when we're going to get it. Even if we don't get it during leveling, like if you get it in T1, that's still fine, because this power is just so crazy. And then if you happen to find a Rod of Kapeleka early on, you're just going to be able to evade like permanently all the time without doing anything. So if you get, a Sepan Sontek, if you get a Sepan Sontek early on, like you're basically just going to be flying. You don't even need Alacrity anymore, because you can just put a Sepan Sontek on your helm, you can put it on your chest, on your pants, doesn't matter. Whatever chaos power that you're going to get this on, and it's going to be completely crazy. And then if you get the Wushenek Pa, like this build is just, scaling crazy high. And the good thing is, like during leveling, you still have like some pretty easy runes to get. You can use Se, which basically, this is Sem, which basically like allows you, when you evade, you get the offering, and then you use Gar for crit, or you use the Quacks if you get it. And you can also use Q rune for barrier. There's a couple of ones, depending on which ones you get. Like this is all like just magic and rare runes. And then in the end game, obviously, you're going to scale like a lot higher and a lot crazier. But yeah, this is going to be an extremely fast leveling build. I have some benchmarks here, and I think these benchmarks will be crossed. I think we might be seeing like, it's possible at least to go like sub 100 hours into the Paragon 300 here, because I think most people, or a lot of people, some people, going to be hitting like a Torment 4 in like, 6-7 hours or something. It depends a bit on RNG, right? Like it could also take like 10 hours if you get really unlucky. But I think like this is like the fastest build to go from 0 to hero, basically going from like level 1 to Torment 4 viable. This build is also going to speed farm 100. It's going to be speed farming pretty much the entire game. It's going to one-shot the bosses on T4. You'll see we'll be streaming a lot, and I think we're going to have 2 Spirit Borns in our group. And we're gonna be blasting. It's gonna be fun. It's also like one of the top builds. Like it's like in A tier, and it's the best farming build. If you're looking at the farming tier list that I did here, it's only basically the only like viable competition for this build in terms of power level is for farming is the Sorcerer, because the Sorcerer has perma teleport. But we have perma evade, and we're also gonna be extremely fast. And I think we're gonna have more DPS than the Sorcerer on the evade Spiritborn. And then you can transition into any of the S tier builds. I have a bunch of videos on those if you want to like push high pits for whatever reason. There's not really a big reward, but if you want to do like, pit 120 plus, you transition into one of these builds. But still, evade, I think, is also going to be doing around pit 110 if you push. Like I did like a 3-minute pit 100 on the PTR, and we're getting crazy buffs. So I think that time on pit 100 is going to go down to 2 minutes, and we can farm like, 80 to 90 in like 60 seconds. On this build. I'm quickly going to show you a run here. Like it's just completely wild and a ton of fun to rock here. So this is like This is like just my evade build here, like going into pit 80, and you can see like we just basically rush through rock here with the Jaguar, and like we just like basically march forward, blast everything down, and yeah, just have a ton of fun with this build, guys. So strongest leveling, and also I think the strongest farming build overall in the entire game. I hope you enjoyed, guys. Spiritborns, log in. Either way, if you're playing another class, like every class has a crazy build this season. Every class has S tier builds, and the power level is just completely ridiculous. Hope you enjoyed, my friends, and I will see you soon. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.